Hello, my Clove guide on Lotus. We're going to start off with A on defense. We're going to start off with all the smokes we can do. So the first smoke is this one. And this smoke is really good when we have like rubble control. And it just helps to isolate the first player out from the rest of their team. Basically what that means is like when the first player like satchels out or dashes out, whatever, the support player kind of has to swing the smoke to then support them in any way. Unless they can maybe minimap reflag, but it's pretty unlikely in this angle. And they have to swing the smoke as well to shoot any util, like Silver Dart, Fade Eye, like Gecko Flash, that kind of stuff. So they kind of have to swing. So this smoke just makes them do that, puts more pressure on them, makes it harder for them to re-explore this area mid-round as well if you place it mid-round. Next one is this one. So this one's pretty underutilized, I think. And it's because it's more situational than anything. Basically what this does is, for this player, they have like one angle to worry about, and maybe this angle if they drop down, but you'll hear them drop down. And also from this angle as well, this is like the main like strength of this smoke, is that it funnels the fights into this angle, and you can have multiple players sit here. Some of the downsides of this smoke though, that means that it doesn't really get played that much or like used that much, is that it really stops you from being able to like control this line with an operator or to jump spot this angle. So it means that if you are against like a team that's quite slow, they're not going to get punished on this line, which isn't great. So that's one of the reasons why. And so if you do have like the opportunity to punish them on this line, you're not really going to use this smoke. So it's the reason why I don't think it's really used that much. You just don't want to give them that free space. Also as well, if you're against a pop flasher like Sky or Phoenix or KO, I guess, but KO doesn't really get played on this map, then they can just flash through it, and you kind of give them that ability too. So it's not really that good either, but in that way too. So it is a smoke that you can think about when it's good in the situation, but other than that, I wouldn't really use it too much. These are like a set of smokes you can do as well. These just help to defend like this space, A main, like A main, A site, and also tree. This smoke is a lot better when you have someone actively holding it with like a shotgun or something. To be honest, and like playing with the door, like moving around it, being very, very slippery. And this smoke is kind of like set and forget kind of deal, where you just kind of put it down and then control the space with that. You can kind of obviously you hold the smoke, but it's like there's nothing like specific you really need to do surrounding it. With this one, I think you need a bit more active player in it for it to be like properly useful. Otherwise, you can do this one, which is very similar to this one, where you can just kind of hold the smoke. You don't really need to do anything specific surrounding it if needed. So yeah, that's like it for the smokes. There is one more set of smokes we can do for defense A, which is these two, which I don't really see many people do. And basically what it is, to be fair, it's quite situational. When we don't have the resources for A, which happens actually quite a decent amount in solo queue, we can, instead of like just placing these smokes here brain dead, what we can do instead is we can do this. So when they go for the retake, so when the retake happens, right, we already have like all this space, so it saves us a lot of time in the retake. One thing you want to be careful of though is that they will move into these smokes potentially if they take sight. So you want to be ready to like with a shorty or something to like control the smoke, or you just want to be wary that there could be someone in this smoke when you like go to the retake, right? Your smokes don't last very long either, so you do have to time it kind of decently. But even then, like when the smokes go down, they obviously can't be in it, so it's really, really strong. They can't hold this smoke forever either, so you can just wait for them to go down, and then you've basically got like still got backside control, and then there's these smokes are gone. It means that you've got an easier time taking front side right here because you're not really smoking yourself off. So yeah, I think that they're pretty good smokes overall for A. One other thing I'll quickly mention too is that you can do medal with like raise nade more than likely like this. And you want to make sure that you get medal as close to the ground as possible. The reason for that is because it's a sphere. So because it's a sphere, the wider radius is going to be in the middle, or like where it detonates, right? Like straight lines from where it detonates. So it's going to be a bigger radius if it lands on the floor or is super close to the floor. So make sure you bear in mind and don't throw it super high like this or something. So as you can see, it's not getting as big of a radius. So you make sure you're throwing it like towards quite low to the ground. Next we're going B. And on B, you basically only have one smoke, really, and it's this one. Bear in mind, you can smoke basically the entire map from B. So I will be defaulting here. So if I don't have a specific play I want to make on any other point of the map, then I will come B, because it's just like kind of default here. I can kind of place here. I can place my smokes anywhere, and I can run to anywhere. So I can fast rotate if I need to. So I do like playing B on Clove here. It's not particularly great that you are the one like kind of holding some luck potentially. You're not that great at that job. You can be quite nice. You are good at lurking itself, but I don't think you're very good at holding against lurks. Because you don't really want to die and then ult against a lurk, because the lurk can just much more easily run away than the whole team trying to take a site will. So yeah, it's really difficult to like hold lurks and to like theoretically like res against the lurker as well. So yeah. One other player as well, like a specific player on my combi, is on an eco. So not on an eco, sorry, on the enemy's eco. So on the second round of the half, if we've won the pistol and they didn't plant, the reason why they didn't plant is because I don't want them to have armor, and this is like a one tap basically to the body. So it means that if they contact into me, which is very likely play on Lotus, when you're ecoing on Lotus on attack, it makes a lot of sense for you to go B because it's a lot easier to plant on this site than the other two sites are. And that's one of the win conditions really for like an eco, is to get the bomb down because you get money, right? Another couple of win conditions could be to get enemy's gun and save it, or to just get guns off them in general, get orbs. Those types of things are win conditions for the eco. And obviously right here we're kind of playing up, but we are more than likely going to get at least 2 here, honestly, with the judge. Getting like at least 2 kills, probably more. So I like doing that kind of play over here. It also really works as well when the players don't really know how to trade, because they're just going to die to the judge. They're always going to die to this judge. Really good. So next we go over on to C. And on C we do have this one way, which is quite nice. So when we are playing, when either we are playing as the weak side, or we have a teammate playing the weak side, this will help to defend them and make them look like bigger than they are on the map, basically. So what happens on like, what I'd say that happens on like low elo though, is that a lot of players will disrespect this. So if you're in low elo, what I would expect you to do, or what I would want you to do, is to hold this smoke. The higher up you get, the less likely people are going to disrespect this one way. They're gonna have very specific reasons to do so with very specific things. So they're gonna have like a smoke TP here in like maybe a double controller setup with Omen and Clove, or Omen and Viper or something, or they might dash across, they might satchel across. There's gonna be things that they can do to alleviate the pressure this one way has. But in low elo, that's not gonna happen. They're just gonna run through this. They're just gonna run basically and swing the one way. So you should be able to get a free kill if you're in lower elos to get to finish this one way. You also have this very simple smoke as well, very similar to basically every other smoke in the game that you've probably seen a billion times, just to defend main. Generally, the timing of these main smokes, I forgot to mention on A as well, on A with these ones, is that you want to place this basically as they go out. On A, to be fair, it's less important on A for a specific reason, but on C you really want to be placing this as the first players are coming out. So when you see the jet smoke come through, when you hear the satchel game placed on the ground, that's the best time to smoke this, because then you're isolating the players coming out from the rest of their team. And as I've already mentioned as well, that's also what happened on this smoke. And that's the reason why A is a bit different, is because a lot of players will use their scaling abilities here, and they won't use them over on A. So it's less likely that you need to like really know that timing on this side, on A. Because a lot of the time they're going to be coming out as like little death balls together that will trade. So the smokes are actually less overall, like not as important for that reason. They have like other reasons why they're important to place anyway, such as like limiting the sight line of stairs, limiting the sight line of main, sorry, so people can go down the stairs, or limiting the sight lines of the tree player so people can go out drop. Those are the main reasons why you might want to place those smokes. You may want to place them later, or if you're going to flood or something, and that's when you're going to place those smokes. Okay, so I think that's it for defense. As I've already said, I think actually I'm not sure if I did mention, but I'm not going to talk about Pick Me Up and Not Dead Yet as much, because they are just like situation abilities, basically really situational abilities, so I can't really show in a custom game. But essentially for Pick Me Up, you're going to heal when you need to heal, basically, or when you need the stim. So if you need to like reposition fast, you might want to pick this up and try and reposition as fast as possible, despite not needing healing potentially. And Not Dead Yet, it's a bit more like situational overall. Obviously you need to die, that's one thing, and then after that you need to be able to get a kill. So it's overall very situational ability. So there are going to be times where rezzing just won't get you value because you're going to just die afterwards, or because you can't get a fight, or you're just going to die afterwards because there's multiple people, or you can't even get out safely. You can't like get out of like, your ghost mode safely. So for the most part, these abilities are like super situational, and they're gonna come from experience mainly of like how to use them. So I'm not really going to talk about them too much in this guide. I might talk about them in the future though. Okay, so when it comes to like retaking, we'll start off on aim. And on aim, usually on retakes, there's these type of smokes you can do. These are obviously the main smokes as well. So these might still be up, but you might have one. Make sure as well you can maybe even smoke on top of the bomb to defuse. For a possibility. If you know someone's like in a corner or something as well, or in a specific angle, You can also just throw the medal in there, and it's really hard for them to win any fights they take in that meantime. It's really, really good overall to play aggressive on Clove as well. So I'll actually, if I'm like retaking like fairly fast, I like to do this, like go from stairs and place this smoke and try and catch people off guard on front sight if possible. That's like one of the main things I like to do when I'm retaking A. When I go over on to B, so usually I'm actually playing B, and usually I retake from heaven. But if I'm not, I'll go from my A-link or C-link, and I usually just do have I don't really have any specific smokes from there. So usually I'm going to be smoking a choke point. It's probably going to be B main. Could be A-link as well. Or I'm going to be smoking once again on the bomb, as this is really effective to in post-plant situations where they have to kind of push this smoke to effectively kill me. Otherwise, they have to spray me, which is very unreliable. And once again, using medal in areas where I expect to get enemies with it, so that when they take fights, they'll be taking disadvantageous fights. Next, C. Usually on C, I'm actually retaking from waterfall. Once again, we have a smoke here for C main. We also have a smoke on side like this for crossing over. I usually do this one normally on Omen as well. I like to TP into this one when I'm playing Omen. It gives me a lot of options when I TP into it, and it really like confuses the enemy when I like pop out of it. It's very difficult for them to deal with overall. And that's kind of it for the smokes, other than smoking on top of the bomb once again. There's also some spams as well you can do if they haven't planted the bomb yet already here, or if they are like basically around this sort of area. You can throw your medal in and spam through here. Really effective. It's 2 bullets with the Vandal or the Phantom, I'm pretty sure. So you're more than likely able to get like maybe a spam kill, or maybe not, definitely not 2, but you're probably gonna get a spam kill if you time it correctly. And if you need a bit of luck on your side as well, but pretty good overall to retake like this. And that's it. We're gonna go on to attack. Okay, so on attack, we'll start off on A, and we'll start off with the same smoke that we did on defense. So this smoke is good for the reasons that it's bad for on defense. So we can defend ourselves versus an operator. So when the operator stairs or something, we can walk past here, and they've got no chance of pushing through it like some other smokes we might place. And also as well, if we have someone that has a good pop flash, having a smoke like this can be quite good, because they can get into a decent position to pop flash with their team like out this smoke basically, and be explosive through a main. So it can be quite good in those ways. I would reserve this really for Viper. I don't think it's really a Clove smoke. The reason for this, or even an Omen smoke, the reason for this is because Viper can pick this orb up and then basically instantly rethrow it, where Clove and Omen can't do that. They have to wait for the full duration, or the full cooldown, sorry, to replace that second smoke slot. So yeah, it's not really the best for those two agents, so I would just reserve that for Viper mainly. This smoke is the next one. And there's a bit of danger that the operator can push you here. This angle specifically with Chamber can TP through this wall into like this TP's away with the operator here. Jets also requires a bit more skill though, where they can also operate you from here, but they have to make sure that they turn and jump, like not necessarily jump, but like jump dash or just dash in this direction to actually live and not be traded. Because if they just do a normal dash, they're going to dash right into this wall and probably die. And get spammed or through the smoke or something. So the main benefit of this smoke for the attacking team is that we can take the front part of A main, and we can put pressure on the enemy team by opening the door or breaking breakable. And the reason why that puts pressure on the enemy team is because when this door closes or when this door breaks, they have to basically suspect that there could be someone in tree, or there could be someone in A-link, which means that you might see like a Sky Flash being sent in here to check, Gecko stuff being sent in here to check. Like it's really difficult to like be basically asking questions of the enemy, like are we in tree, and they have to answer. They have to find the answer basically by sending util in there or checking themselves, and that obviously can be risky. It can result in kills in certain rounds when they have to check it themselves, that kind of stuff. It can be really strong to have that kind of pressure in A main. Where as well, also if you think about it as well, like if the enemy team doesn't have communication surrounding A, maybe even surrounding B, then when this wall breaks, like it's like this B player might be stuck watching this angle because they think that it's going to be A-link, when really they're going in A. Or if this door opens and there's not really much communication going on from A, these two players might think it's A and start rotating or half rotating, and then it just might be a fake, right? So these types of plays will give a lot of pressure across map. And obviously as well in solo queue, it's not the best for communication, but even then, even if the enemy is communicating quite well, they can still get caught off guard by the default type plays you can make with this smoke. So I would recommend placing the smoke a lot. The next smoke is the stair smoke, and usually you're going to do this when your majority of your team is going through A main to go through into site. Maybe not the majority, but as long as someone is going through A main to plant, or not to plant, to just go inside. You don't need placing this one at the start because this one's the most abusable by an operator as well. The operator can just sit here and dash into site, so you don't really want to be using this smoke off the start. Without their, like, if you know they can have an operator as well, you definitely don't want to do this smoke. You want to be doing this smoke. The smokes for going into site are going to be this one and this one. So this drop smoke is going to be used sometimes. You're going to use this one or the stair smoke, and it really depends on what's happening in the round. Like, if a majority of people are coming through this way, you probably want to do the drop smoke. If a majority of people are coming through A main, you probably want to do the stair smoke. Bear in mind the stair smoke is a lot more abusable by the enemy team, where they can pick a timing and find a way to do this. Also, like do a peek as well. Bear in mind they will have a smoke like this potentially, which means that when this smoke, so they'll have a smoke like this. You'll have a smoke. You'll have this smoke, and they'll have that smoke, and they can use this as a way to like swing this smoke and isolate the angles, right? Because there's no angles they can be shot from here, which is like the main dangerous angles that this swing has. So if they find a timing, they can kill you. So this one is less valuable overall, I would say, compared to the drop smoke, which outright just stops anyone from coming through. You can also place it a bit deeper like this as well, and it makes the sky smoke. Oh, sorry, not sky, but the sky flashes and like Phoenix flashes less value because it's harder for them to actually pop flash out of this space. So it can be really, really strong, like these deep ones like this. But there's a lot more space here. Phoenix can't even flash around the corner in that space there. It's really good. And the reason why this one's out a bit, you can kind of put it like this as well. You can kind of put it like this. You just want to make sure that there's no gaps on either side. And as long as you've made sure of that, it's basically fine. The reason for that is because the bleed doesn't matter on this smoke, because there's this ledge. And this ledge will mean that they have to kind of jump out and they can't shoot mid-air anyway. Like, at least accurately, not realistically. That makes him when they drop. Or if they want to go down silently. So if I place the smoke again. If they want to go down silently, then that was silent. They're stuck in a one-way, so that they're literally never going to do either of those things. As long as so the only thing that they have like plausibility to do is to find like a little angle that they can snipe you from. If there's like a little gap in the smoke, right? If there's like a little gap in the smoke, then they have like these angles to work with. You just want to make sure that doesn't happen, basically. So on B, when you're attacking B, generally you're going to be smoking off heaven and C-link. The reason for this is because this breakable thing, basically, as long as it's not broken, it's essentially a way that limits that space, where they kind of have to be in here when the execute starts for them to actually be in here, provided that this hasn't broken. So that means that these two smokes, you can just put in these two smokes and then go take this A-link space, and then you basically got essentially like a breakable smoke, like a cove here right now until it's broken. It's really, really good, right? That you can control that space. There are going to be times where you're going to be smoking that off instead, and you're going to be something like this. Maybe your Raze wants to satchel up here with a Judge. Or maybe you want to go take C-Link instead, so you do these smokes. B is kind of like the situational type smoke area, like with what sets the smokes you're going to do. Obviously, Brimstone has the easiest time where he can just smoke off everything. And that can make life a bit easier sometimes, but Clove can't do that. So that means that you kind of have to make that decision and push something. Generally, you're going to come here when you're ecoing and things anyway, so it's not too much of a big problem as long as you can get your bomb down. It's not that much of an issue what you actually do with your smoke. When it comes to like, when it comes to like medal as well, generally I'm going to save it for retaking anyway, like on attack in general. There are going to be times when I will use it beforehand, like I'll use it to like clear angles out and things. But for the most part, I like it on retake. I like it to like defend retake and like punish them for like trying to push out and take fights on the timer. That's how I like to use my medal. So when it comes to like retaking, actually, you know, we'll talk about retakes at the end. I always forget. Talk about the retakes at the end. Okay, so on C. Actually, wait, I'll talk about one more thing on B. Sorry, I'm just convoluting now, but on B as well, you can also smoke for A. So you can lurk here as well. So, and don't be afraid to like. You can even die here as well, and you can still do some of the smokes for A, like this one. So you can do some good things. You can also smoke heaven as well for A. So you do have the opportunity to smoke for the players going through here when you're lurking on B. That's something to bear in mind. You can lurk on this agent. Lurking isn't too bad on this agent. It's just that you gotta be careful when you've got your ult up, that you don't just ult and then just like can't find a fight on the lurk. You're more likely to find a fight when you're with the bulk of your team against the bulk of the enemy team. So yeah, on the other side of the bulk of the enemy team, it kind of depends on the timing, but yeah. You generally do want to find lurks when you can, especially because you do have the opportunity to with the way your utility works. A lot of your utility is either selfish or like has a decent range, so you can be lurking if you want to. With like, because what you're gonna do with your team, right? The only thing is like maybe medal, and with smokes they've got enough range that you can do it for your team anyway. So you can find lurks if you want to. I like lurking through B a lot when I play Clove. And next is C. Sometimes I like C, but for the most part when we actually go C as a team, there's no like default smokes I really do here. Like to take mound, it's not really my job or anything. Like we're gonna be using different util here. And then when we've got mound, I'm gonna be doing this when we're actually going out. You can do the smokes like as deep or as not deep as you want to. By the way, it really depends on the comps you're playing against. If you're playing against a Sky, sometimes it's nice to have this deep smoke because then they can't really like flash out very easily. And they have that to bend the smoke, to bend the flash. It's really hard for them. Bear in mind as though you are giving like a lot of front space over here, so you need to be careful. Like they're not just like sitting here when you like go and clear this space originally. You need to be careful of that. They can't just walk through the smokes. Otherwise, this one is a bit more safe in terms of that. Anyway. The CT smoke is like obviously super easy. Not really much to talk about there with that. And that's kind of it for like tacking C. Realistically, like you can do medals as well. Actually, sorry, there is one more medal we can do. This is very similar to the raise nade, where you just do this medal and it lands here, and it decays them on this pillar. Obviously, you can do the medal behind this as well. But as I said, I do like to keep it for retake if possible. Not always possible. Especially on C, I do like throwing it on C, because I do think it helps the raise that will satchel sight. Also, they like to throw their nade at this point, so I like to medal where they're nading as well. It just makes a lot more sense to do it that way than to save it for retake in this situation. Okay, so when the enemy is retaking C, resmoking is fine. Like free smoking this, it's fine. It's not usually that good though to resmoke the mains. It's really good to like kind of give yourself like ways to interact or like contest with them moving into you. So smokes like this where you own them, you might get spammed here, but you can like own this smoke. It makes it really difficult for them to path around you. Like you have to go around here and you might force them into disfavorable fights on bend or something. You can also do a smoke like this too. And it means that they basically are forced to kind of do this type of stuff to actually like do this fight. If you sit in the smoke with a shotgun as well, it becomes really difficult for them to move back sight. And that's kind of it for the smokes I like to do on C retake. For the medals as well, there are medals you can do. So this medal is one of the ones you can do for CT. And just spam through the wall. Same with the one on the waterfall as well. You can bounce it off there. And you can spam. It's pretty much the opposite to the one we do on the fence. Yeah, there are options you can do with the medal. It's one of the reasons why I like to keep the medal for retake, is that you can do these types of plays. When it comes to ult as well, you want to just make sure you're ulting in a good position, basically, where you can res. It's very easy actually to get the res off, not the res off, but to get like the kill afterwards, like the fight you want afterwards, after your ult, because they're going to be running into you, and they can't. Not at the time as well. Time-wise, they can't afford to run away from you just to let you expire. They have to kind of take that fight and hope to win it, basically. Otherwise, you're going to res. So Clove does create some deadlock situation. Deadlocks, that's probably the wrong word to use. Does create like some situations where they're kind of like doomed if you do, doomed if you don't kind of situations on retakes with her ult, or with their ult, sorry. So on B, we're retaking. I'm usually going to play main. I might play close once again if I have a shotgun. I like to have shotguns on Clove in general. If anything, a shorty. But other than that, like Judge, Bucky, honestly, shotguns are just really good on smoking agents in general. So using these types of guns is quite good. So I might be playing close with like on Heaven, or I might even play A-Link. I might be one of the players that decided to play A-Link. And if that's the situation, I might do smokes like this. If I'm playing B main, I'll do smokes like this. The reason why I'll do these smokes is that I can own these smokes and I can use them to go out anywhere I want. So I can go out this angle, I can go out this angle. I can choose which angle is relevant to me and which one makes the most sense for me to use in this situation. So I really like these smokes that allow me to take this space out of main, and I'm not just like stuck in main. I can kind of just take every angle. It's really good. It's especially good as well if the enemy team suck, or the enemy smoke sucks, and they just always smoke mains, because you can do this smoke and then their smoke is completely irrelevant. So it's really good that way as well. Yeah, that's kind of how B will go for me. Kind of just sitting in main. and using smokes to kind of take angles out of the choke points, like this one, or this one.
Right here.
Okay, and then when we're retaking A, I basically play a lot of different angles on A. So on A, when the bomb's getting close to being detonated, I like kind of sitting in this sort of angle. I like kind of smoking this off, sitting in this angle. Obviously, it doesn't always work out this way, but if I can, like, this is one of the most ideal situations where I can kind of just smoke, or I can smoke a drop. But you can kind of smoke off one of these areas, and you can just kind of play like mid-sight. The kind of the aim of this as well is wherever the bomb's planted, it could be planted here, could be planted here, whatever. I want to go into it. Well, if I die, I want to res and go into a relevant position, like such as tree or drop, relevant to my plant, where I can contest the plant when it's close to detonating, where they kind of can't wait for me to expire because the bomb will explode. But they kind of have to, basically it forces them to fight me and defuse the bomb at the same time, and it becomes really, really difficult if I just play for my life the entire time. I'm wasting so much of their time in this post that it becomes super difficult for them to actually win the round. So I really like finding positions like that. Like a I'd better say deadlock situation again, but confusing if I say deadlock. But yeah, a situation where they're kind of doomed if they do, doomed if they don't, basically. Another way I'll play A is I'll play over on drop, and this is usually if I'm taking, like, making sure I want to take the first fight as the players on my team, and I want to be up. I usually won't have ult at this point because ult doesn't really do too much when I die here, right? Because I've got really nowhere to run to. So usually I won't have ult up with this situation, and it's usually just because I want to play super aggressive, because we kind of need that space being taken. I want to, like, maybe in a 2v3, and we can't exactly get, like, aggressive anywhere. We just don't not positioned to do that. So I might just want to sit drop and control this space, because you are controlling two places at once to an extent, and it can be really, really strong to sit in this situation, sit in this place where, especially as well if you've got like util that can impact this top bit, like a fade eye, for instance, and you can swing off it over here. It can be really, really strong, because these players coming out, they have two angles to worry about, right? They have two angles to worry about, so you can really catch them off guard if you swing from drop. In the same time as well, you can swing with a teammate from here as well. Like, there's plenty of options you have from this angle. So I really like it. As a duelist as well, you probably get akin to that angle. I sometimes play main as well. The reason why I might play main is because I might have been lurking in the round. Usually when I'm lurking though, I usually take timing. So I usually decide that I'm going to flank straight up. Like, I usually take quite long timings. If I can anyway. Some situations won't work out that way though, and I have to, like, take a short way through the door, or I have to go all the way around back through my spawn. And yeah, so I'll end up in main basically. Hopefully it's planned for me at this point. If it's not, I'll probably do a smoke to try and get out and get to the plant where it is, and try and fight the plant, like late basically, because I will be late in general probably if I mess up my lurk in some way. And I can I'm basically just trying to do smokes that can help me get it out and, like, get out into multiple angles and fight where they don't expect me where I'm going to come out from. Basically, they don't expect where I'm coming out from. And if it's planted for me, like, if it's planted for me here, then it's great, right? Because I can just play for this. My ult is actually quite effective here as well, as long as they're not actually straight up pushing me. Because if I die for, like, to this person here, for instance, I could ult and go into this corner and still be fine. They won't be able to catch up to me in time. Metal is also really strong in general in these sort of situations where they want to defuse the bomb. You can kind of use it to, like, spam through the wall and get really good damage on them, and potentially, well, that good damage will turn into a kill basically through the wall. So it can be really strong to play like this. Play for your life a lot more on Clove, because you waste a lot of time on post for the enemy team to deal with you, especially if you've got ult up. So yeah, that's kind of it for the Clove guide, I think. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you want to subscribe and see more content like this, it helps me out greatly. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.